Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Market Trade Group, and this is your end of market recap for Thursday, October 24th. Obviously, big moves today from earnings names. They really kind of powered the index. Some of the moves behind the indices today. Tesla in particular. Before I get to that, risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving out any advice or recommendations. Everything that we're going through, that I'm going over, is for education purposes only. So, taking a look at the indices and the rundown, SPY up 20 basis points. Okay, not bad. Certainly nice to see in the green. Same thing with the small caps. An okay day, up 20 basis points after I think being down 4 or 5 days in a row. I'll go through these charts in a second. Really, where the performance was in the Qs today. And if you look at the Qs performers, you got a couple of names, top three names, because I think T-Mobile reported too. But Tesla just up huge. And I was reading this on Zero Hedge that that hedge funds have a huge short position. Geez, another example of hedge funds sometimes getting it wrong, and really getting it wrong, and having to cover, and a lot of momentum in that name today. Again, a huge move, up 22%. Congrats if you're long the name. Congrats if you were playing it in options today. It was one of those days where made a huge overnight move and just kept on trending throughout the day. So very nice. I have a position on in the TTG trend portfolio. Right? That's a portfolio that has 49 names in it, and I was nervous about it. And it's a small weight. It's not a big weight in the portfolio, but I was like, gee, should I have reduced the position a little bit into earnings? I was not thinking. Listen, I'm happy to say that. Not happy to say, but happy to be transparent and be like, hey, I was worried about Tesla into the quarter. I know everybody on Twitter, they nailed it. They all got, they were long yesterday, and so on and so forth. But regardless, like, even so, like, you could have caught the momentum today. So nice to have that name. I also have in the portfolio, I also have ServiceNow, which had a big day. It was a nice day for that portfolio. ServiceNow and Tyler Technologies, which is another name. I'll start going through some of these charts, but that's been the story. And I mentioned this on Twitter last week. I was on a Twitter space. I think it was about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and it was very nice. There was a bunch of panelists on there talking about what they were, what they viewed as a catalyst for the year end. And I was one of the only ones that said earnings. It's really, I think, it's going to be, besides, the political stuff in the short term is going to cause some volatility in the short term, but it's really going to come back to, what companies are doing and if they're executing, right, and what they're saying on their guidance calls. So Deckers is a nice one. Skechers is also up. So the shoes companies, again, it kind of shows you, even though Skechers looks like it's off the highs there a little bit. But it just kind of shows you, like, I don't think the shoe industry is dead, but I think the players are moving around, right? I mean, there's been a lot of talk about, and I hear a lot of people who want to go long Nike, right? And I think have brand recognition to the name. I'm not one of those. I think that, listen, I don't do a lot of retail research, but I was in a shoe store and I couldn't even find Nikes. And so it was more of a running store. So Nike doesn't make that many running shoes, but I was like, geez, it's completely different types of shoes that are dominating, that portion, right? Basketball and so forth are probably a little bit different, but that's the reason. It's not by accident that this stock is going down. I couldn't even, like I said, this was more of a running store, but I could not even find the shoes because they're not popular. So in any event, nice move by Deckers. Let me get to some of the movers for the day. I don't want to go off on a big rant today. I want to keep the video short. But here's Tesla. I mean, and here's the crazy thing about Tesla, right? I mean, it did not look very strong, since that robo-taxi event. And it's still, like, you could complain about it if you like to, because I think year to date, it's barely positive. I mean, this is where we started the year. So, like a lot of situations, depending on how you trade, there's been a lot of ups and downs with this stock. Sideways charts, even though there's been plenty of range and plenty of opportunities to make money in this stock through through this year, depending on how you trade. But sideways charts are not my favorite. And I do have faith in the company. And that's why I have it in the TTG trend portfolio. I did get long once we broke into the into the value area, but until today it was like, I think I added it in here, and I was just up a little bit. So again, I think that the company will do well long term. Obviously the margins drew a lot of attention, as well as the Cybertruck, them making money on the Cybertruck. So hey, great day. And like I said, if you caught the move, or it's not often that you see a trending day like that where you start on the where the name gaps up and just goes all day long. So very, very impressive. I mentioned T-Mobile. Let's just look at this. Yeah, this is another one in the TTG trend portfolio, by the way. So very nice move. And yeah, I think that's on earnings. I guess, was T-Mobile out? I thought T-Mobile was out the other day, but maybe it was last night. But hey, that's a heck of a move for T-Mobile. Let's get to where the indices are out. I think we need a little bit more. So there's a positive and negative here. Basically, the positive is that we found, we got to support yesterday and we bounced. The issue is that we're not back above the 5-period moving average, which I think is a great indicator of momentum and the short-term trend. Right, we got above the 5-period moving average back in the beginning of the month, and we had a nice run, above the value area. Then we got a little bit tired here. So the question will be is whether this is going to move back above its 5-period moving average. I think good for now, in a good spot, but certainly would like to see this move back above the 5-period moving average. 1-hour chart, I like to show these two. Because I get a lot of signals off of the 1-hour chart. I was long, if you remember from yesterday's video, I did get long the S&P. I went long SPXL on this move back, and I sold it pre-market. I just thought this was going to be a barrier for the day, and immediately after the open, we began to sell off again. So I think that there is, as we get closer to the election, you're getting some folks that are probably a little bit more nervous about this. And that's also why I think that we've lost the momentum to the upside, or one of the reasons why we've lost the momentum to the upside. Right. And again, like if you could kind of hang out, like if you can not get beaten up in the chop, right? And if you can make money, even better. But I anticipate this, we've got a couple weeks to the election. You might get a good buying opportunity, right? In some names. And that's why one of the things that we do at Tribeca Trade Group is we compile a strong earnings and gap list, so that we've got that list ready to go to, and we can buy some names that we really like on the dip. And that's very important. I really do believe that that's where you're going to find the market leaders for the next quarter. And, so we pay very, very close attention, or I pay very close attention to that. Qs, a nice move back. I think it'll be more revealing on the next chart, but did break that 20-day moving average and came back again, not above the 5-period moving average. So I would not get complacent. I would not get comfy here. I do like the fact that the Qs I do like the fact that the Qs right where we were. Remember in yesterday's video, I talked about this 490 level. We did break into here, but overall, like besides a couple of those movers that I just mentioned, today was not like a great, a wonderful trading day outside of Tesla. There was just not a lot of things that were moving. With a lot of momentum volatility. So we're right back in the middle of the value area. This is essentially where we started the week. So up and down, up and down, up and down. And if you're if you're managing to make a little bit money on some of these swings and not get beaten up and not be, but if you're buying on the highs right now, you're getting creamed, I would say. So you just kind of have to be careful of that as the market changes. IWM, I'll review this. I don't review IWM every day because I kind of think to me, it's a little bit of a waste of time, but to each his own. There was a VPOC that was taken out to the downside. Again, bounced. Here's where we were pre-market. This actually went red on the day and then got green again. So, I think the good thing for now is that IWM held the 50-day moving average, found support there. But I think there's better places to be in this market. All right. A few other names to talk about. TLT, so bonds, I made reference of this, how this slipped below this virgin point of control. Pre-market, I give a video every morning. I actually put that out on Substack too, if you're a paid member for Substack. And I was talking about how I thought that price will come back to this VPOC. Now, I don't know if it does any more than that, really. But I thought, a lot of times we overshoot these VPOCs and then we come right back, right? And that's an area of high volume. So nice move back today. And again, like ultimately, if we kind of just hang out here and don't do much at this point in bonds, that would be a good thing. And that's what I'm rooting for. Bitcoin had a big move today and a nice move back. We're not above these highs, but after yesterday's move lower, a bit of a hammer bar here. This is the IBIT. By the way, this is not Bitcoin futures, but this did reclaim the 5-period moving average. So very strong, nice green bar today. And things like MSTR were off to the races again today. That's a new high for MSTR for this year. Very, very nice break higher here. Core Z is another one to keep an eye on, although it did not have as strong of a day. The trend is up and to the right with this one. So I'm not going to go through too many more names tonight. I'm also watching some of the financials, which I think the financials have held up pretty well. Right. Remember, this is a group that has had some really good earnings so far. Watch to see if this could retake the 5-period moving average. But I'm beginning to look for some individual names and some of the earnings strength names in this group because I think it's acted very well. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.